Tig Knight run the city, no cap rap news, bro. We back with another one. Thanks to everybody that's been subscribing to the channel, man. I really appreciate it. This time we got that boy DJ Akademiks, man. It's the NBA rig. Akademiks think there are more players throwing games in latest betting scandal. Let's hit the transition, man, and get right into it, bro.
Yo, Meek said, I need a royalty analyst to account for my music business.
Oh my God!
Yo, it gotta be ChatGPT writing these Meek Mill posts by now, bro. Ain't no way, bro. Ain't no way. Ain't no way, bro.
Your boy been going at Meek Mill for like 6 years, man, if not longer. Meek should have never started with this dude, man, because he been going at him ever since, fam. Let's go.
Niggas say need a royalty analyst to account for my music business. Let's move on. I heard some shit about the gambling shit. Like the NBA and the gambling shit. Oh no, I was watching Brilliant Idiots. Not Brilliant Idiots. Flagrant 2. That nigga named Shams or whatever his name is, right?
I think there's an interesting thing, though.
Regulated, legalized gambling is happening. Well, JB Bickerstaff, the Pistons coach, he said not all money is good money. So there is that school of thought.
So some of these people now, the other argument is people are going to do it anyway. Yeah. So like they're going to do it with some guy that's wearing a leather jacket in the back of an alley, or they're going to do it, online, some professional thing, whatever. The point that I'm trying to make is the game has changed in a way, the game of gambling, in that you can do all these like prop bets.
Those are the killers.
And
those
this
are the killers.
Because before, you had to actively throw a game. You had to make sure your team lost.
Yeah.
Now you just got to make sure you get less than 8 rebounds. Mm-hmm. And it's easy to get less than 8 rebounds or less than 6 assists when you just sub yourself out because your toe hurts. Mm-hmm. So you get your little 4 assists, your team might be up by 10. You go, okay, my team's not going to lose. I'm not going to have negatively impact my teammates. And I know that I'm not going to cover the spread, and then my boys or the mafia, whoever it is, can make a bunch of money and nobody gets hurt. I at least imagine that's
on points, I just pass. It's like the most charitable way to do it.
Well,
now I'm getting...
All right. You should watch this whole segment. This guy's like an NBA insider. They're saying that they're investigating a bunch of niggas for gambling fraud. They're even thinking James Harden throwing games, gang. I ain't going to lie to you. They think James Harden...
I ain't gonna lie, a lot of them niggas is throwing games, and not just in the NBA, in the NFL too. That's why I quit fucking with Prize Picks, man. I had so many parlays where I'm about to win. I know I'm about to win. Taking dudes out like 30 minutes early and shit. Like, goddamn, bro, it's the third quarter. Y'all done took him out. All I need is one more yard. He didn't get it. You know what I mean? All I need is one more of this. Take him out. Come on, dog. Yeah, this is all game, bro. That's why I don't mess around no more. I used to fuck around with Prize Pick, but nah, I'm out.
Apparently, he had a line of 21. He scored 20 points first half, and he said, I'm good.
See what I mean?
He said, I'm good. He ain't scored another point for the next one, for the rest of the game. So the prop points is 20 points, 20.5. He had 20 at halftime. He had 0 in the second half. Now, I'm not saying that means he's doing it.
It definitely means he's doing it.
There's like a reasonable, constructive conversation that should be had about not only gambling in sports, but definitely how these leagues and teams and associations are taking advantage of like what gambling is. I'm going to give you all some interesting stats. So, historically, and I don't know if you guys are into sports. Name whatever sports you're into. I'm watching the chat. Are you into NBA? Are you into NFL, MLB, NHL? Are you into soccer? Are you into, I guess we would be talking about MLS for that. Or if overseas, you could be talking about some other club type of association. Anyway, look like you guys are into basketball. I'll say this. So this is only going to get worse. And I do believe that if you're a fan of basketball, you should and I used to really be anti this thought where you would have to assume and have to just come to terms with the game is rigged. But it is impossible for the game to be not enacted upon by especially gambling, which is going to lead to players throwing games or manipulating the results based on a few things. So let me kind of I'm gonna break down why I believe the only way I don't want to blame the players as I'm gonna just blame the institution of gambling being allowed into the games. So it's easy to blame the players to say, well, you're getting paid $20 million. Why did you need another $500,000? You're greedy. You're greedy.
Nah, I wouldn't say they're greedy, but, it's a way to make some extra money. It's a way to help your buddy make some extra money. It's the way to, help some of your friends make some extra money. All you got to do is say, hey, bro, what I'm looking like on prospects. Okay, I need 21. They say I have 21 points. That's the over. 8 rebounds. Okay, well, might get the 8 rebounds, but guess what? I'm going to do the 20 points. I ain't going to do 21. I'm going to take an injury or something. So go ahead and bet 10,000 on that, bet 20,000 on that, and I got you covered, you know what I mean? And ain't no sweat off my back. I'm still getting paid my money. I'm gonna give you a 10 too to put on it with your 10, you know what I mean? Double that thing up or whatever, and we both get a cut out of it. You see what I mean? And no foul in their eyes. But to people like us at home that they ain't got the hook up and don't know the partner and don't know what the play is for the night, shit, we getting screwed heavily. You see what I mean? But it is what it is, man. Everything is shaded, man. Don't think nothing is legit.
I'm gonna take the approach back. These companies are already getting billions of dollars, but they still, because every company wants to increase revenue, they have signed deals basically with the devil and got in bed with gambling companies, right? Let me show you why players will always be susceptible, no matter how much money they make, to what this gambling shit is. Okay, first and foremost, last year, and I'm giving you, and if you guys could Google it afterwards, around $13 billion was pulled in from sports betting, right? So the sports betting market about $13 billion. It's almost incrementally increasing every year. Now, how do NBA or say the NFL make money? And this is why I say this is the beginning of the end of any type of fairness in sports, because players, there's too much incentive to fuck with the integrity of the game. So to break down the business of basketball and the business of NFL, if there's a pie of how much money comes in, right? And based on the money that comes in, depending on what collective bargaining agreement really dictates, but usually they usually stipulate about half of the revenue that comes in could go to pay the players. That creates a salary cap, that creates whatever. Let me give you numbers, So the NBA, they're in the middle of a 11-year TV deal. To this date, TV accounts for the majority of how these leagues get money, right? So NBA has a TV deal, which is about 40 to 46% of their overall revenue. It's the deal is $76 billion over 11 years. The NFL, the NBA has 82 games. The NFL, which has 17 games, they're in a 11-year deal as well. But theirs, because, there's just more viewers, even though it's less game, more viewers for these bigger games that they tower over basketball games in terms of viewership. They're in a $110 billion dollar deal over 11-year period. So for NBA, there's 46%. 46% of their revenue, or let's say 40 to 46% of revenue is TV. What are the other percentages? Like 15 to 20 is ticket sales, jersey sales, sponsorships, and these other things that they do to make it up. But the majority of how these leagues make money is TV deals. They sign these TV rights deals. These days, sometimes Twitter might be into it, where they could broadcast a game on Twitter, Netflix, or whatever the case is. But that's how they get the lion's share of the money they get. Remember, the money coming in gets broken down, usually per the CBA and how they establish salary caps. Around half of that goes to the players. That's why each and every year you see players keep getting more and more money, because these deals are incrementally damn near increasing. What ends up happening is that the NBA has introduced this new way of monetizing the game. This way is through gambling. So what they've done is they've made DraftKings, they've made FanDuel what they call their partners, their gambling partners, which means these companies get to advertise with them and advertise and also use certain stuff with the NBA to create lines and advertise lines to hopefully get more people to gamble. I believe, in comparison to the TV deals, it's not the biggest thing right now, but it's like $1 billion or $2 billion worth of equity yearly for the NBA right now, right? Or revenue, actually. I mean, the problem is, it's the players. They're not getting what the association is getting out of the gambling thing, because the way how they do these gambling deals with the NBA or the NFL, they don't directly benefit the players, especially the players who are being betted on. So, and tell me if I'm losing y'all with some of this.
You're just taking too damn long to get to the point.
The only way to cure this gambling shit, you got to treat it like jersey sales, right? Which means so the way how they do jersey sales is this. LeBron is probably going to have the best selling jersey every year. That money doesn't go to LeBron. What it does is that there's a portion of all jersey sales from all players. It actually gets allocated to every single player, because number one, for LeBron to be popular, he has to play versus someone. So they kind of just pool the money up and then distribute it to everybody, right? They got to do that for gambling to really incentivize players not to throw shit or not to have people bet on them independently. If every player got a percentage of every bet placed on them, whether they won or lost, it would incentivize them to not be in the business of throwing a game or going for the under, because they would just want to be a player who is getting betted on. You get what I'm saying? So it's right now we're in a financial situation that the NBA, who's greedy, the NFL, who's greedy, and I guess it was inevitable, but they're in bed with these gambling companies. They want to outlaw the gambling, but benefit from it and hope the players are the saints. No, the players are going to, come on. It's a bunch of people. It's a bunch of niggas. Come on. The
Niggas
only way to
want
cure
bread,
this,
man.
they got to make it a way where, hey, if y'all say you got LeBron's over, you bet $100, and I got LeBron's under, I bet $100. Let's say even if it's 1%, it shouldn't matter if LeBron gets the over or the under. There should be 1% drawn from both of those wagers and paid to LeBron. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it make plenty of sense, bro, but You know who you dealing with, man. Them fight wokes is not going for it, bro. They don't care about no niggas making no money. They want the bread, bro. So then, in turn, that's gonna make niggas do what niggas do. We gotta find a way in. We want in. Even if a nickel bag is sold in the park, I want in, bro. That's just the facts. Let's go, man.
Does that make sense at all? Because without that, it's no reason why these players wouldn't do these like micro gambling events where, again, when I'm saying micro gambling, you're not throwing a game. But if they're saying you should only have 5 assists, or the line is you having 5.5 and you have 5 assists, all you got to do is every time you get the ball, you pass the ball before half court, or if you're now in the you're at the other team's like hoop or whatever, you just take the shot or don't pass it to somebody who's open. So I was kind of watching this. I was really watching how financials affect everything. And that's when I went down the rabbit hole of figuring out how NBA players and how the NBA gets money. Currently gets money, the majority of the money comes from these NBA TV deals, which I didn't know. $76 billion for 11 years is crazy. But it's for the TNTs of the world, Peacocks, Netflix if they want the games, ABCs, everything. When you're about to introduce more billions and the players already know that they ain't going to get part of it, the players going to get theirs some way, somehow by throwing games, or not throwing games, but like by playing around with these lines and doing the under shit, unless you put them part of the finesse. Gambling is really only meant to finesse one person, the bettor. You can't finesse the person who is being betted on, because at that point, they're going to end up finessing you by underperforming or rigging it with bettors of their choice, if that made any sense. So I seen people bring up the James Harden thing, but just some interesting stats. If you ever look at it, how much of NBA revenue is TV revenue? Is TV deal? Yeah. So the media rights is like almost half. So also I'm extrapolating, and I know I'm getting a little bit nerdy with this, so I apologize. I could tell when either I know I'm making sense, but it's a little boring. What's happening is that the TV rights deal, we're at a pivot in the NBA and the NFL. Since COVID, there aren't more people watching. There's less people watching. And what's happening is that the TV rights money is going to go down. So
less people watching because there's less people watching TV in general. People ain't buying cable, and, if you ain't got cable, they took it off for terrestrial TV, so that ain't working. So, and less people buying cable, people getting Wi-Fi and getting apps and YouTube and shit like that, and Tubi and stuff like that. That's what they watching now, man, and they phones and shit. So ain't nobody watching TV anyway. So majority of that shit is going down. That's why ESPN tripping with YouTube and shit right now, because they want the bread. The bread ain't coming from TV like it used to, man. It's still there, but it ain't coming like it used to. At least that's what I noticed. I could be wrong too, though. But yeah, that's the majority of it, man.
NBA, like any company, is trying to figure out how do we subsidize and make up for it. They're trying to do it with gambling. So as the TV deals starts to dip a bit, seemingly, which maybe it doesn't, because Netflix and when I mean mostly TV, we're talking about linear TV, like TNT. They ain't really want to pay the last money to get NBA back again, because niggas is watching less. When that money starts dipping, the NBA is trying to make it up with gambling. But now when you make it up with gambling, The players are looking at it like, wait, hold on, what are we getting out of this? And also, this is more of a definite thing that's determined by us. It's like the jersey sales thing I'm saying.
But also, I think too, like with some of them betting companies, I think some of the players might have some ends with the betting companies. You know what I mean? They'd be like, "Hey, look, we need you to come out in the third and don't come back in the game no more, bro. We got this bag for you." Everybody betting on you to get, the over. We need you to hit that under for us so we can make some money and we can offer you some money at the same time. I think it's more of that going on too, not just with the players and friends and family and shit like that. I think it's more the actual companies giving players money that the NBA ain't giving them. You know what I mean? That's what I think going on. But again, who knows, bro? Everything's shady.
If you weren't good, your jerseys wouldn't sell. It's not that, the TV rights deal, they could be like, oh, well, we broadcast every game whether you play or not. If you're not good, your jersey doesn't sell. And if you're not a player who is somewhat impactful, no one's going to make prop bets on you. So it's the same type of thought I'm trying to say. If they're trying to continue going into the future where they're making up revenue with gambling, if you don't cut the players in, expect half the league to be throwing. Half of the league. And right now, I think it's probably 2 players per team or 1 player per team. That got some weird shit going on. Maybe not the highest paid guy. Maybe it's like a 6-man, a guy who gets like 10, 15 minutes a game. But trust me, that he's doing some shit. Or
I think it's more than that, bro. Anyway, man, this is kind of boring. I'm tired of this shit. But yeah, man, let me know what y'all think in the comments, bro. And then let me know if y'all experienced that same thing like I had with Prize Pick or something where all you need is 1 more point or 1 more yard to win, and they take them out the game, bro. And now you fucked your parlay up, man. So let me know in the comments, bro. Tig Knight to run the city, no cap rap news. Peace.
See you again soon. I see.